Mitch McConnell, I don't know. I'm out of disparaging definitions for these people. I don't know what else. I can't call him the Senate leader. I can't call him a good human being. So I resort to, he looks like a turtle. He talks funny. He's a dumb shit. He's a Christian fascist. I'm out of descriptions of this slimy bastard. Oh, there's one, slimy bastard. Okay, I'm out of descriptions for the slimy bastard. But McConnell, today, Wednesday, endorsed Donald Trump for the presidency. This, after years of shit flying back and forth between these two filthy bastards, Trump and McConnell. But the endorsement today by McConnell absolutely sews up Trump's hold on the Republican Party. And I wish Washington Post, where I got this article from, this information from, I wish, and this is just bullshit on my part, but I wish they would stop referring to the organization that Trump now owns as the Republican Party. It is not. The Republican Party consists of people like Christy Todd Whitman or, you can Mitt Romney. Yes, even Mitt Romney. Or who else? Who else makes up the Republican Party? Not Nikki Haley. She really doesn't, even though she didn't endorse Trump when she decided to bow out. Liz Cheney. There are so many of the people who still constitute the dregs of the Republican Party are women. The men in the Republican Party have decided to give up their manhood and their courage and their backbone to this filthy bastard Trump. I do not respect a single, not one. I don't give a fuck what else they do. If it's a man in government who endorses Donald Trump, I look at that person as a cowardly piece of human waste. They get no respect from me. What a bunch of goddamn cowards. It's just astonishing. Anyway, McConnell said in a statement this morning, quote, "It is abundantly clear that former President Trump has earned the requisite support of Republican voters to be our nominee for President of the United States. It should come as no surprise that as nominee, he will have my support. During his presidency, we worked together to accomplish great things for the American people, including tax reform that supercharged our economy and a generational change of our federal judiciary, most importantly, the Supreme Court." Holy fuck. And this guy can say things like that. A tax reform. There was not tax reform. It was a fucking handoff to the super wealthy, the people that Trump always wanted to be and never has been. And as far as McConnell saying they affected a generational change of our federal judiciary, most importantly, the Supreme Court, what is he saying? He's saying that I and the Federalist Society and Donald Trump have completely fucked you, America. We have absolutely destroyed an independent judiciary. It is now owned and operated by the Christian fascist cult in this country. That is what McConnell is saying. Anyway, he went on to say, quote, "I look forward to the opportunity of switching from playing defense against the terrible policies the Biden administration has pursued." Terrible policies? I can think of one. The unmitigated support for the bastard fascist Netanyahu, but everything that Biden has done domestically has been for the benefit of the American people. God damn you, McConnell. Anyway, he said, "I look forward to the opportunity of switching from playing defense against the terrible policies the Biden administration pursued." to a sustained offense geared towards making a real difference in improving the lives of the American people. You rat fucking son of a bitch. You see what I mean? There's not too much bad, nasty language or curse words or shit I can string together that really lets out, for me, the contempt and the disgust that I feel for these people. And I apologize, because if you're a listener to this podcast, I know you think sometimes, come on, Malloy, for fuck's sake, quit using the F word or something like that. Anyway, you'll remember now, McConnell has announced he's going to step down from being the Senate Minority Leader in November. He is probably the most influential Washington Republican to back Trump. McConnell could have instructed his caucus to remove this filthy bastard when the first impeachment trial occurred that indicated Trump's willingness to take aid and comfort, not to mention money and propaganda from the Russians in order to get the presidency. But the endorsement by McConnell was a remarkable move from this fascist little bastard from Kentucky. It was expected, but it was still remarkable. He held out in recent weeks as other Republicans fell to their knees with their hands outstretched, hoping for Trump to put something in their hand, including many of those many Republicans who wanted a different nominee. And McConnell's endorsement simply means that every cog in the Christian fascist wheel of doom is now directly behind the orange Nazi. It's just astonishing to me. I'm so old, I grew up at a time, and this was not necessarily a good thing, but I grew up in a time when the Russians, the Soviets really, were the anathema of freedom and democracy and progress and peace. They were sitting across the ocean with all their nuclear missiles pointed at the United States. And, of course, we pointed at them, too. But they were awful. Like I mentioned, that's the reason under God was added to our Pledge of Allegiance, to differentiate, if it was needed, between U.S. citizens and Russian citizens, Soviet citizens, right? But look at the Republican Party now, which no longer exists. The Christian Fascist Party has become an adjunct of Vladimir Putin's brand of Christian fascism. They're the same. Putin is a Russian Orthodox Christian. I am also so old to remember the leadership of the Soviet Union denouncing religion for what it was. That's one thing I kind of agreed. No, not kind of. I fully agreed with them. Religion, bullshit. And the Russian Orthodox Church was consigned to stop your preaching, stop your sermons. Churches were turned into community halls or labor organization, not labor, but communist organization halls, until Gorbachev, who started to loosen up that hold, and then Putin, who is a Christian, a Russian Orthodox Christian, who goes to confession, well, maybe not confession, but goes to Mass. He celebrates the High Holy Days in the Russian Orthodox tradition. Putin hates Jews, hates Muslims. Soviet Union, of course, used to have an enormous Muslim population, not to mention a sizable Jewish population. But the Muslims now had better keep their mouths shut or Putin will drop bombs on them. And as far as the Jews, so many Russian Jews fled to Israel if they didn't come to the United States to commit their fucking crimes and then run to Israel. But I digress. McConnell, going back to the turtle, he declared his everlasting love and endorsement of the orange bastard as Nikki Haley announced this morning that she's out of it. Which, of course, leaves the orange pig with no more competition. Now, truth be told, McConnell's verbal barrage there is probably going to have little effect with Trump supporters because most of them didn't like McConnell to begin with anyway. He was kind of the burr stuck under Trump's ass, kind of like Mike Pence. But McConnell's endorsement could persuade Republican donors who have been donating to McConnell to start funding the Orange Nazi. And McConnell's words could matter to some of Trump's critics in the Christian Fascist Party. And as the Washington Post reported, quote, McConnell has also faced pressure from some Republicans to endorse Trump, though people close to him said most of his supporters and allies were not clamoring for such a move. And Biden, Joe, what the fuck is wrong with you? Biden recently called McConnell a friend in a statement. You know, what's that saying? A friend of my enemy is my enemy. Joe Biden, if Biden loses this election, it's because the son of a bitch brought a cheese sandwich to a fucking knife fight. And Trump and the scum around him, does anybody think that they will offer any quarter to Joe Biden? They will be going to open up his jugular vein, and including McConnell. So Biden is saying, well, you know, Senator McConnell's a friend of mine. No, he's not, Joe. He will cut your fucking throat. Don't you understand? Come on, calm down. Now, an advisor to the Orange Bastard said that the Orange Bastard welcomed the endorsement from Mitch McConnell. Well, of course. And the spokesperson said that the Trump campaign believes it could help with some moolah, some cash. What is going to be interesting to me, and I will be watching closely, is to what degree Trump can or even makes the effort to unite the Republican Party behind him now. You know, the Haley faction of the Republican Party, the Cheney faction of the Republican Party, the Christie Todd Whitman faction of the Republican Party, the Mitt Romney faction of the Republican Party. What is the orange vomit going to do about them? Now, he made a statement a couple of weeks ago. He didn't give a fuck about them. You know, we don't care about the moderates. We don't care about them. We've got our little cadre of black shirts, and we are going to march on. We're going to destroy this filthy goddamn republic and replace it with me, Donald Trump. I am the leader. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.